to create a process, what is calculation, so how to implement the calculation in a process, and we saw that how to work with the data items. Okay, so let me open things which we created. Okay. Now if you observe here, this is the process which we created in last. Fine, that's fine. Thank you. If you observe this process, how many calculation shapes we have implemented? Three calculation shapes we implemented in same process, right? For example, if you want to implement some other calculations like 3 to 4 expressions, again we need to implement. Then what we have to do? Again, we have to create other calculations, right? We have to drag and drop again and again some 3 to 4 calculation shapes here like this, and then we have to give the link, right? Then the flow will become very big. The flow will become very big. Instead of that, we have a option called multi-calculation shape. Multi-calculation shape. This multi-calculation shape we will use to implement multiple expressions. Calculation we are using for single expressions. The same way here, we are using multi-calculation to implement multiple expressions. Multiple expressions we can implement within the single shape. If you observe shapes, this is for multi-calculation. This is for calculation. Observe the shapes here. All both, it looks like similar, but the only the difference is you have multiple end shapes here. We have multiple end shapes here. Now we'll see so how to work with multi-calculation. Let me create a new process for multi-calculation. Right click, create a process, multi-calculation 7, because the same name it will not accept for the multiple process. That's why I'm giving the extension here 7 or 8, whatever it may be. Next, and we can give the description. Here, multi-calculation. We are trying to implement multiple calculation here. One more thing, data can be copied from one process to another process. Data items or process we can able to copy from one process to another process. Data items are shaped. It's same like once you copied any document or Excel or Notepad from one drive to another drive, both the documents will work individually, right? Once you copy it, then if you do any changes on the original one, it is not going to impact on copied one, right? If you do any changes on the copied document, it is not going to impact on the original document. The same way it will work. Once you copied the document or Notepad or Excel, it will copy along with data. The same way, if you are copying any data item, any process, it will copy along with the shape, it will copy the properties as well. Here, in previous process, we created X and Y, right? If you want, you can create here. But so let me show you how to copy the data items from one process to another process. Double click on this calculation. These two data items. Select these two data items. Right click. Use copy. We copied it. Close it. Come to your process now. Right click again. Paste it. Observe this. Data items has been copied, and along with shapes we have values as well. It means we have properties also, right? Now what we need to implement here, we need to go for multiple calculations by using multi-calculation shape. Just drag and drop and give the link. Start to multi-calculation to end. Now double click on multi-calculation. Observe this, what we can able to see. We have expression and store the result in. If you want, you can add n number of expressions here. Observe this. If you have multiple expressions, if you want to perform multiple calculations, if you want to perform like this, you can able to add n number of expressions. There is no limit. We don't have any limit to implement. For example, we will implement addition x then plus y. You can do directly, otherwise you can click on this icon, see this expression editor icon, and then you can able to create also. It's up to us. And then where you need to store this in addition result. And this one, for example, 5 multiply 9. This one storing multiplication result. And then this one, the multiplication result minus addition, whatever it may be. You can do anything. For example, multiplication result minus 9. And then storing subtraction result. Right? Like this, we can able to perform. So let me delete this. Now we have 3 expressions here. We have 3 expressions and then we have 3 results. Now just click OK. And here, generally when we are implementing expression, if first expression and second expression and that it should be in sequence. It means, for example, if you have any dependency of second expression is depending on first one, then we have an option called series move up and move down. Here, once you get the multiplication result, then only you can able to implement this, right? For example, if it is up, then this one, first one, this one implement, then next this one, next this one, right? So based on this order, we can able to move up and move down the expressions how we want. Now click OK. Observe this addition result, multiplication result, and x and y. Right? Now click on the pointer, multiplication result and addition result. Here, just reset. Observe this, what it says. We have error. Click on that. Where we have error? In multiplication stage, stage 2 store result does not exist in a step 3, stage 1. Right? Double click on that. Addition, multiplication, subtraction, it's not created. Now click OK. Again reset. Now we don't have any errors. Now we have addition, multiplication and subtraction based on the whatever the values we have. Now if you observe here how many shapes, we have only one shape right here. One multiplication shape, multi-calculation shape, we are implementing everything, right? All the expressions. No need to have multiple calculation shapes here. Instead of that, we can able to go for multi-calculation. Now reset and then run. Observe the result. See this? Okay. And in last class, we discussed that multi-calculation shape, it will not going to work for enable calculation zoom. Enable calculation zoom only it will work for calculation, right? Not for multi-calculation. Let me enable this. Enable calculation zoom. It's enabled now, right? Reset. And we are trying to run. Observe this, still it is enabled. If you run this, it will not show you what is happening in the back end. The reason behind this, when it is executing, when the hitting this shape, it is trying to execute all the expressions parallelly at the same time. That's why it's unable to show you which expression it is working in the back end. But in case of previous example, stage by stage, in first stage, it will implement one expression. In second stage, it will implement another expression. In third stage, it will implement another expression. So it can able to show you so what is happening in the backend. But here you can't able to see what is happening in the backend. So that's the difference between calculation and multi-calculation. Enable calculations will not work, and calculation is for only single expression. Multi-calculation is for multiple expressions. Okay. So now we'll discuss what is the purpose of, let me close this. Say, what is the purpose of data item? To store single values, right? For example, if our requirement is, if you want to store multiple values, for example, ID, name, salary, ID 1, name ABC, salary 3000, ID 2, name, city, salary 8000, ID 3, so name and then salary something. Okay, now how many records we have here? How many rows we have? We have 3 rows, and then so we have 3 columns, right? Here ID is number, name is text, and then salary is number. We have more than one value. Can you able to store this in data item? No, it's not possible, right? If you have more than one value, like array in your programming language, we are going to use here collections. Remember, single value data item. If you want to work with multiple values, we have to go for collection. Collection is to store multiple values. Multiple values we can able to store it in collection. And one more thing, when we are working with collection, remember we have to use loop. Must and should, when wherever you are implementing collection blindly, you can use loop. Why it is required, we will discuss. Loop will have loop start and loop end. These are the two shapes. Loop start, loop end will be there. In between loop start and loop end, whatever the shape you are going to implement, that will go for a loop n number of times. How come the loop will understand how many number of times I have to go for a loop? This one is based on collection records. In a collection, how many records we have? For example, in this above collection, we have 3 records. This loop, it will continuously, it will repeat for 3 times. Like iterations, it will go for 3 iterations. It will go for 3 times loop. Why we need to go for a loop when we are using collection? For example, in above thing, our requirement is we need to calculate total salary in this example. From this data, we need total salary. How you are going to calculate total salary here? First record plus second record salary plus third record salary, right? It means we are implementing calculation 3 times, right? If you want to do this, so we will create a simple expression. Initial salary, total salary, we will give it to 0. We will give it to 0, and then what we have to do is, from this collection value, we will take the salary. Expression will be like this: salary plus total salary. Again, we are giving equal to total salary. Now observe the expression. What will happen? First record salary is 3000, right? 3000 plus total salary is initially we given to 0 and equal to, again we are assigning to total salary. Again the result will be 3000. For next record, Next record, what is the next record? 8,000. Next record will be 8,000 plus. Now what is the total salary after the first record calculation? 3,000. This is the result. 3,000 is the total salary here. Now what is the total salary total? 11,000. Right? For the next record again, salary from the collection 9763. This one plus again the result 11,000. It will be total salary now. So like this it will create implement total salary. How many times we are implementing calculation here? See this, 3 times we are implementing calculation, right? It has to go for, loop has to go for 3 times. Wait a minute, just give me 1 minute, I'll be back. Now we understood that we have to implement 3 times loop. We have to go for loop. That's why wherever you are using collections, we have to go for loop. Now one more thing, when we are using collection, we have to give alias name when you are using a field from a collection. Suppose this collection name, assume that collection name is emp table, emp. From this collection, if you want to use salary, you have to use like emp.salary, emp.salary. You have to use like this. Then only this process will understand that you are using salary from this collection. It means maybe assume that you will have n number of collections in a process. Then how come your process will understand, so which salary I have to take, from which collection salary I have to take. That's why by default, remember, when you are using collection, you have to use collection name dot field name, collection name dot field name, and you can use n number of collections in a process. There is no limit. Same way how you are going to implement n number of shapes in a process, n number of same shapes in a process, the same way we can use n number of collections. But when you are using collection, we have to use loop. In a loop start, we have to give the collection name. Now we will see so how to work with this. Go to process, create a process, right click, create a process, collection with loop, collection with loop. Next, process created, double click on process. Now we need to create a collection first. Come to collection, see this collection and data item. Observe the difference between these two things. Data item is to store single value, collection is to store multiple values, right? That's why we have multiple ends here, multiple shape ends. This for single, this is for multiple values. Let me delete this one. Double click on collection, name, give the name as emp, and we have fields. Field is nothing but column names. Field, attribute, column names, don't get confused, all are same. Now we need 3 column names, id, name and salary. id is number, name text, salary number. And what about the initial values? How many records we required, we can able to create. How many rows? We need 4 rows. Now id 1 2 1 3 1 4 1 5, and name you can give anything, and salaries. Now we have, how many records we have? 4 records. Now we created fields and we created records in a collection. If you observe, see this here. So how many records? It says that the collection says that we have around 4 records here. See this, 1 of 4, row 1 of 4. When we are creating here, we created manually, right? We created a field names and we created data. But assume that if you have 1000 records or 2000 records, if you want to deal with 2000 records or 3000 records, then this is the way we are going to create. If you do it like this, how many hours it is required to create all the records? It's very difficult, right? We will not do all these things. When you are working in real time, we are not going to create any records like this in a collection. We have an option called, we can able to import the data from Excel file and then we can give it to collection, or we can able to pull the data from database, we can able to give it to collection. That option is there. Going forward, we will see that how to pick the data from Excel file and how to give it to collection, how to pick the data from database and then how to give it to collection. Now just to work with this example, we created this collection name, field names, and then records. Okay, now click OK. Now we have around 4 records. We have what we need to do. Wherever we are using collection, we have to go for a loop. We need to implement total salary here, right? First go for loop. Loop will have loop start and loop end will be there. Loop start, loop end. In loop start, we need to give collection name, for which collection that loop has to work. Double click on the loop. See this loop start. What it is asking? Collection. Give me the collection name, right? EMP is the collection name. Now click OK. We have given collection name. That's fine. Then what we need to do here? We need to implement calculation for total salary. Create a data item to hold total salary. Total salary. Assign it to 0. Initial salary. Okay. Now we need to implement calculation, the same expression which we created here. This one, same way we will implement here. Double click on calculation. Go to collection. See this, when you created a collection here, so it says that collection, and then if you expand that, collection name is EMP. Expand this. See this, emp.id, emp.salary, emp.name, right? Now here emp.salary plus total salary. Total salary. Again we need to assign it to total salary. Understood the expression, right? How we are implementing. Now click OK. Now give the link. Start to loop start. Loop start to calculation. Calculation to loop end. Loop end to end shape. Reset. Do you have any errors? No. Now we are going to run this process. Just observe how many times it is going to here. How many times it is going to implement calculation to loop end. Run this. Observe this. Calculation loop end. How many records we have? We have 4 records. It will go for 4 times iteration, 4 iterations. Now again we will run one more time. Now observe collection, row number, and then total salary. We'll run it in slow. Now observe this. First row, total salary. Second row, see this, row second, total salary. Row third, again total salary. Row fourth, total salary. Like this it is going to perform the record by record basis. It is going to calculate it n number of times. It will go for a loop. So we will use loop. So for collections, if you want to do the same, calculations for n number of records, we can able to perform this. Remember one thing, wherever you are using collections, we have to go for loop. And when you are using loop, you have to use collection name dot field name at the same time. So in a loop start, we have to implement, we have to give the name of the loop. So which loop we have to, it has to go for, how many times it has to go for, it will decide based on how many records we have there in a collection, those many times it will go for a loop. If you have 5 records here, it will go 5 times. If you have 10 records here, it will go 10 times. It will be like that. Now reset. So this is the now. So next thing will be, we will discuss about how to work with decision. So generally, what it meant by the decision, it's a conditional statement, right? Any conditional statement, we are going to call it as a decision, yes or no. Here also the same thing, decision will have yes or no. Decision always it will have yes or no links. Decision will allow 2 links. Remember, it will allow 2 links. One is yes, another link will be no. And which link will be yes and which link will be no? For example, here, the link which you are connecting first from your decision to other shape, which you are connecting first from your decision to other shape, that one will be yes link. Which you are connecting second from your decision to other shape, that link will be no. Whereas you will have decision will have 2 links, one is yes, another one is no. Which you are connecting first, that is yes. Which you are connecting next, that one will be no. For example, assume that you are applying for credit card or loan. Their requirement is, the bank persons, they will check the criteria. If your salary is greater than 50,000, then only you are eligible for credit card. For example, condition is, if your salary greater than 50k, so then check his person CIBIL score, and then check his person address proof, or check his person reference numbers, right? They will do all these things. If your salary itself, if it is not greater than 50k, if it is less than 50k, no need to do anything, just end the process, because he is not eligible for credit card. Just send a message to that person, you are not eligible for credit card, and then close the process, right? So no need to continue. So like these kind of situations, we are going to implement decision like a, so if else, right? Yes or no. Now here, 2 conditions we have, yes or no, we have 1 decision, right? For example, if you have 3 conditions, then we have 3, we need to implement 3 decisions. For example, if your salary is greater than 10,000, your tax will be 20%, assume that. And if you are, for example, so let's take salary greater than 10,000 and salary less than 30,000, tax is 20%. The same condition, if your salary, if your salary is greater than 30,000, less than 40,000, then it will be 30% tax, assume that. And then if your salary is greater than 40,000, then this is 40% tax. How many conditions we have here? Previously we have only 2 conditions, yes or no, eligible, you are eligible for credit card or not. 2 conditions. only one decision we can implement, yes or no. But here we have three conditions. How many decisions we required? We need, in a first decision we are going to check whether it is salary is greater than greater than 10,000 or not. If it is greater than 10,000 and then so less than 30,000, it will check. If it is greater than 30,000, it will come to the another condition. Only condition we can check less than 30,000, then come to the next condition. Here it will check the both the things, yes or no. It means if you have three conditions, we need two decisions. If you have 5 conditions, we need 4 decisions. If you have 10 conditions, we need 9 decisions. Always remember n minus 1. N minus 1 will be your decision counts. So sometimes in interview they will ask, I have 6 conditions, 6 statements, 6 conditional statements. How many decisions you need to implement? If you have 6, then n minus 1. 5 decisions we need to implement. Basically, so we will not implement these many decisions. We have a other option called choice. We will discuss it later. But so remember this option. If you have n decisions, n conditions, n minus 1 decision shapes is required to implement that. Now we will go with one decision. How to implement a decision? We will see that. Come to the process. We create new process for a decision. Decision 7. Okay. Give the description, anything. Double click on this. Now our requirement is if your salary is greater than 10,000, you are eligible. If your salary is not greater than 10,000, you are not eligible. Right? Always decision will have two conditions, yes or no links, two links. Now come to create a salary first, data item, salary, data type, number, value. Suppose let's take 50,000. Now salary is 63,000. Now we will go for decision. So this decision, pull the decision. Now we need to give the link. Select the link. Start to decision, decision to end. Now when we are connecting decision to end, this is the first link from your decision. What it says? It says that it is yes, right? This is the first link because this is first link. Okay. Decision always it should have two links. In the decision, we are going to implement condition. Double click on what is the condition you need to implement. Salary greater than 50,000. This is the condition you need to implement. Now decision condition we implemented. We have a S link. Now if you reset, it will throw error because we don't have no link. Observe this. What it says? No link when the decision is false. If it is yes, if your condition is yes, if your salary is greater than 50,000, go in this direction. But if your salary is not greater than 50,000, then what it has to do? It has to go for another direction, right? Go to the end, give the link. Observe this. Yes or no. First link is yes, second link is no. This one is no link, right? Now, if you try to create another link, it will not allow. You will see that. Now reset. Do you have any errors here? No, we don't have any errors. Reset and just run this. In which way it has to go? If the condition is true, it has to go in this direction. If the condition is false, it has to go in the no direction. Now run this. Observe this. It came in this direction. If the condition is no, it will go in this direction if the condition is false. Okay, now when it is coming in this direction, we need to display a message that you are eligible for credit card. If it is going in this direction, you need to display the message like you are not eligible for credit card. How to do that? We can use calculations for this, calculation shape for this. Calculation is not only for calculating, not only for implementing the functionalities, implementing expressions. We can able to use the calculation to give any user defined values. Now use calculation. Now when it is coming in this direction, it has to go. Now observe this, we have yes link and no link. I am trying to connect from decision to calculation. What happened? This link is gone, right? If I try to connect this link is gone, because decision always it will allow only 2 links, not more than that. If you want to give the link, just delete this existing thing. Now give the link. Now observe. Now we have a link. When it is coming in the direction, it will display message like, so you are eligible for credit. It has to display. For that, double click on calculation. It will give hard-coded value. Eligible for credit card. Right. Remember, when you are giving any strings, must and should, it has to be wrapped in double quotes. For numbers, it is not required. For any strings, so you have to wrap in double quotes. And then where you need to store this in message. Now click OK. See, this is created. Now click again OK. Now when it is coming in this direction, it will give you the message here like, so you are eligible for credit card. If it is going in the direction, in the no direction, then it has to display that you are not eligible for credit card. Then you can create another calculation there, and then we can give the same thing. Now run this and just observe. See this, what it is displayed? You are eligible for credit card, right? Okay. Now you have yes and no. In the S is in this direction, no is in this direction. For example, assume that, so by mistake you connected the link first here, but it should be here. It should go, if it is yes, it should go in this direction. If it is no, it has to come in this direction. Then we have a option to interchange this yes or no links. We have a option called switch option. See this? Switch. Just click on a switch option. What happened? These two are changed. Links has been changed. Yes in this direction, no in this direction now. Now if you run this also, it will go in this direction for yes. Observe this. Right? This is your switch option. Switch, it will interchange your links. Yes to no, no to yes. Okay. Here we implemented only one decision for 2 conditions, right? Conditions is 2 here. So one is yes, if it is 2 statements. One it is, if it is yes, it has to go in this. If it is no, it has to come in this direction. If you have any other thing, for example, like a salaries, if you have multiple things, then what we have to do? Then we have to implement multiple decisions. Multiple decisions in a single process, right? So the same way how we implemented multiple calculation shapes in a single process to implement without implementing multi-calculation, right? The same way here, we need to implement multiple decisions to work with that. If you have more than 2 conditional statements, we have another option to implement if you have multiple statements, if you have multiple conditions, then we have to go for choice. We have to go for choice. Here, observe this choice, right? Choice, otherwise. We will discuss more on this again in next class. Just I will give brief idea on this choice and otherwise. See this? This is a decision, but this is choice and otherwise. We will use this choice for to implement multiple conditions. Choice always it will have choice and otherwise, like if else. For example, if any record, if it satisfied the condition, then it will go to the choice. If any record, if it not satisfied the condition, for example, we have this salary greater than 30,000 and less than 40,000, salary greater than 10,000 and then salary less than 30,000. Okay. For example, assume that we have a condition salary equal to 2,000. This record, it is going to fall into any of these statements, any of these condition criteria? No, right? Then this salary, it will go to otherwise. Otherwise, if the salary in between these things, then it will be 20%. 20%. If the salary in between these, then it will be 30%. Salary is greater than this, it will be 40%. So these are the three criteria we have, three conditions we have. But what about this record? If any record, if it is not meeting that conditional criteria, so then it will go to otherwise. Remember this. If any record, if it is matching with the conditional criteria, it will go to specific condition. Okay, that is choice and otherwise. When you are implementing a choice, you have to implement it for multiple conditional statement, not for single. Decision is for single, choice is for multiple things. Now here we will discuss. Okay, let me reset. We will call some pair shapes here. Paired shapes. Don't get confused. If any interviews if they ask, so what are the paired shapes we have in a BluePrism? Observe this. We discussed all these things. Data item collection. Observe the shapes. This is for single, this is for multiple, right? Single value to store multiple value. The same way, calculation, multi-calculation. Observe this. Single calculation, it means single expression, multiple expressions, right? Multiple calculations. Same way, decision and choice. Observe this. Decision and choice. Decision is for single condition, choice is for multiple condition. We'll call it as a pairs. Single and multiple. Single value, multiple values. Single calculation, multiple calculation. Single condition, multiple conditions. Okay, so remember these shapes. Okay, so now we'll discuss about, just save this one. Save it. Save it. Discuss about what is versioning here. We saved it, right? And if you click on this decision, what you can able to see here? You can able to see the process information, right? The date, time, and then user. Assume that some other person working on the same process. Today you have done something, maybe, so after you, so another person opened the same process and then he has done some other changes and he saved it. How come you are going to understand what all the changes he has done? How come you are going to understand before this change, what is the things is in that particular process, what I have done previously, up to where I have done, how to understand that? We have a version history concept here. Now double click on this decision. Okay, so let me create one data item extra here. Okay, and then save this one. Save changes. Saved, right? Now close this. Now observe what you can able to see here. Two things, right? Two versions. It is showing two versions. So this is the latest one, this is the previous one. Now, if you want to check the differences in between these two things, we have an option called compare. We have an option called compare. Remember, this compare, it will work. Compare will work for any two versions. Any two versions, remember this. Any two versions. Compare option will work for any two versions. Okay. We will see that what it means by that. See this, select both the things, right click. What is the option we have? Compare, right? Click on that compare. Observe this. It's showing that what is the difference in between both the things. See this data item is highlighted, right? It says that this one is not available. This is not available. And here, if you do again some other changes, again another data item, save it with another one. Now close it. Now how many versions we have? Three versions. If you want to understand, so what is the changes they have done previously? What is the changes is there in the latest version? What is the changes is there in the previous version? So you can compare any two versions. It's not possible to compare more than two versions. Now see this. Do you have an option to compare? No, right? We don't have option to compare more than three versions. We have an option to compare only any two versions. First one and latest one. You can compare like this. Same way, this one and this one. You can compare like this, right? Any two versions you can able to compare, but not for, you can't able to compare all the versions. And if you want to view the process, just right click and view the process. You can able to understand what is there in the previous version. If you want, you can run also, but remember, you can't able to save. You cannot able to save. You can able to view, you can able to run the process, but you can't able to save that. Okay, now come to this. So this is about version history, for example. Okay, now if you observe in this process, under this folder we have this process, right? This process always it will be with latest changes. Always it will be with the latest changes. For example, I want the previous changes also, previous changes process also. Then how to do that? Before changing, for example, assume that you are working on something. Before you, some other person is working on something. He has worked on something, and then you don't want to touch his changes. Whatever the changes you are going to do, you are going to do it in a different process. Then how to do that? We have a option called save as. For example, we have an Excel file. Already you have some data. You don't want to disturb that. You want to do some modification. What you are going to do? You will use save as option, right? Save as with another name, right? The same way here, we can open the process and then we can save as with another extension, another name. So for example, also this, right click. So assume that I want to do some changes, double click. I want to do some changes for this. Before doing the changes, I can go to file. I can use save as option. See this, save as. I can give the name, sample version. I can give any name. right? Based on your requirement, you can give the name, and then you can able to save it as a some other version. Now, previous version will be there, and then current version also it will be there in your process studio. Normally, if you do any changes, always it will contain only your latest changes. If you want to preserve the previous changes as well as the latest one, must and should you have to use save as option. If you save as, then it will ask you the description, and then see this has been saved. I'll close it. See this, it's created. Now pull this to the folder. See this, well, now we have both the things. This is the sample version which we created, and then this is the latest version, right? If you want to do any changes, you can able to do the changes here. Then the previous version it will not be disturbed, right? So when you are working in real time, so you have to always, if you want to do any changes for existing process, the best practice is this: you have to save as with the some other process name, some other extension, and then so you have to implement this. Okay, is it clear? So what we have discussed versioning, then what are the things we discussed in today's class? We discussed about how to work with a multi calculation shape, how to work with a loop, how to work with collections. Remember, when we are using collections, we have to use a loop. How come the loop will understand how many number of times it has to go for a loop? You have to mention in a loop start, you have to give the collection name. Then how many records we have in the collection, those many number of times it will go for a loop. If you want to use any field from the collection, remember collection name dot field name you have to use. Collection name dot field name. And what about the purpose of decision? Decision we are going to use to implement any conditional statements, yes or no kind of. Always decision will have two links. One is yes, another one is no, right? Which one you are connecting first, that one will be yes. Which one you are connecting next, that one will be no. Always it will accept only two things. If you want to display any message, user defined message, you can use calculation, but it should be wrapped in double quotes. Remember this. Okay. So you can able to copy the data items from one process to another process. Not only the data items, you can able to copy the process also, one process to another process. Okay. If you have single condition, you can go for decision. If you have multiple conditions, you can go for choice. We will discuss more about choice in the next class. It will take some time. And so after that, what we discussed about versioning. These versioning options. Always latest changes will be available in version, the current one. Latest changes will be available in your process. If you want to have both the changes, previous and current, then we have to use save as option, and we have to create with the some other name. Okay. Okay. So any questions in this class from anyone?
Dinesh,
Yeah.
if you want to use the output, we need to use the collection stage, right? Calculation stage, right?
Yes.
Other than that, is there any possibility to without using that calculation stage?
Just a minute. In calculation, we are using this, and then we are storing the result in here, right? If you want to, so your question is, if you want to take any result, if you want to do any calculation, must and should we have to use calculation only. And then if you want to store the result, we need to store it in data item, or we can able to store it in collection also. We can able to store the results in collection as well.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay. So any other questions from anyone?
Hello?
Yep. Yes,
Actually,
okay.
saving process, right?
Yes.
Every time you are giving some text, is it mandatory?
Come again, Ashok.
No, actually, every
When
time
we
you
are
are saving
saving
process,
process.
right? Yeah, every time you are
Yeah.
giving some text, right, before saving.
Yes, exactly. It is required because, for example, when you want to save this, always it will ask you the comment. Based on this comment only, it will give you the. For example, I am going to save this one. Save. You need to give some description. Description here. Based on the description, you can able to understand here. See this? I have given some description, right? See this one. Based on that, you can able to understand why we have changed, why you have done the changes. So that's why always it will ask you the description before saving. Then it will create a new version here. That's why it is required. That's mandatory. Okay.
And one more thing, you created some loops, right, with some conditions.
Yeah.
How do you know which loop is running inside?
Okay. So here, when we are working with a collection and loop, the here. So which loop means which record it is running, right? For which record it is running. Yeah. So when you are working with this, so it will take the loop order-wise. First record first, second record next. When you are running also, you can able to see this collection, first record, right? Now observe this second record. It is running, third record, and fourth record. So like this, we can able to understand for which record, which row it is working, for which row it is taking. You were saying something, Ashok?
So like, actually, what I'm saying, so we can't find it is for loop or do while or while, right? Just simply loop only.
No. So simply loop. So we don't have all those things.
Okay. Fine. Okay. And one more thing, on other doubt, can we see the sequence flow?
Can we see the?
In BluePrism. Is there any possibility to prepare sequence scenario?
Sequence.
I mean, yeah, this is like flowchart only, right?
Yes.
Can we prepare like sequence without start or end?
No, it's not possible.
Okay, only flowchart it will support, right?
Yes, only it will support that.
Dinesh, actually Ashok was trained in UiPath. In UiPath, there is a concept called a sequence. Okay, where they do all the macros. So, is that something it's available like kind of macros in UI BluePrism?
Yes, we have some VBO system here. We will call it as a VBOs. The existing VBOs we can able to import it here, and then we can able to work with that. So if you want to work with Excel file, if you want to work with a Word, if you want to connect the database, we have existing inbuilt objects is there. We will call that as a VBOs. We can able to do that.
And I think
One more doubt. Yeah, continue.
Ashok, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, Dinesh, suppose if I want export output result, how can I export into different folders? I mean, files.
We can do that. So when we are working with MS Excel VBO, so we'll discuss all these things, how to get the result, so how to get the result into some other collection, how to save, how to put this result into some other Excel file, all these things we can able to do this.
So we can export, right? By using BluePrism.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, thanks.
And Srividya having some question.
Yeah, I saw that. So your question is, can you tell about decision loss? Okay, fine. So decision always we will use to cross check so whether it is a condition is true or false, any conditions. So if it is yes, condition statement is yes, then it has to go in one. For example, so let me take, if you applied for a credit card, they will check the conditions, right? Condition criteria will be there. If your salary is greater than 50,000, then if it is not, you are not eligible for credit card, right? So here the same way we have given a condition here. See this, salary greater than 50,000 or not. If the condition is true, then it will come in this direction. It will go. So after this, yes, you can give some, check the CBL score, and then check the reference numbers, or check his personal details, or so address proof, whatever it may be. You can check, go for the further process. If it is no, then you can simply end. That is decision. Decision always it will have two links, yes or no. Just a minute. So is it clear, Srividya? Compare. Okay. I will open that. Okay. Here, so how many versions we have? 3 versions, right? Because so we have changed the same process. We change different things, and then we have saved in a different description, right? If you want to compare, suppose you have done something today, maybe tomorrow you will come and then you will open the process, you will do some other changes, but you assume that so previous change is working fine, now the current change is not working fine. How you are going to understand that what are the things is there in the previous change when you are implementing something, or you are working on something and other person is working on other same process, he has done some changes today, maybe you need to work tomorrow. How come you are going to understand what are the changes he has done in that particular process, right? For that we will use compare option here. Each and every change, when you are saving, it will ask you the description. See this, we have given a description here, right? So here you need to give the description like why you are doing the changes and when you have done the changes. Based on the description, they can able to understand. At the same time, if you select any two versions like this and right click and compare, it will give you the information here. So what are the changes we have when we are comparing with this thing like this. So here we don't have any changes for these two things, right? Let me compare these two things. Observe this. Here it says that we have a change. In here we have data 2, but here item data item 2, here we don't have data item. So like this we can able to understand so what all the changes has been implemented, what all the change has been newly implemented in your current process. You can able to compare any two versions, first and last, first and second, or second and third, whatever it may be. Here that's why we will use compare option. Okay, is it clear? Srividya? Okay. So any other questions from anyone? This one I created just to explain it to you. So just I created when you are saving that. So I have created the name as a sample version. That's it. You can give any name. When you are saving with the date, just double click. If you want to save with the other name, save as. You can give any name here. So like so your name with the some date format. So then it will be saved with that name. Okay. Any other questions? Yes, for the same process. Same process, this is the another name. So if you want to do any changes, so you can leave the previous process, you can do the changes in this process. Then the new changes will be saved here. Without disturbing the previous process, you have created a new process with another name, and then we are going to do the changes here. If you want to do any changes, that's why we created that. Okay, that's fine. If you don't have any questions, so we'll wind up the session. So tomorrow we meet.